spoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on what the truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on what the truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Don't forget to do that, huh? How's everybody doing? Huh? Happy Sunday. I got this thing still running over here, huh? 1 second. All right, we're going to kill the music. You know, I like how that thing fades out, but I don't know. I always want to like cut it a little bit at the end, you know? It feels like it just hangs there. Doesn't feel like it really does too much. What a week, guys, huh? Welcome everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We got John Stokes, of course, Rotary, the song members. We got Steve Hammers. I know, Steve, I know you want to be in the song, man. Honestly, you deserve to be in the song. Everybody deserves. I almost dropped an F-bomb right away. I was almost already out of the algorithm just that fast. Everybody deserves to be in the song, man. Yeah, the thing is, I got to try to fit it in, right? I got to go back and see if I can pull up the lyrics and then have it be the exact same. I think I can. I think I can change it. You know, Tim G. Star's in the song. He hasn't been here a whole lot lately. I see he was on he commented something on Alien X or the episode from us last night. But no, I haven't seen him around here. Maybe he just catches it not live. I don't know. I feel bad removing him. But at the same time, Steve's been here a lot more lately. But Tim G was here at the start, man. So I don't know, you know. I know you don't mean to pressure me with it, Steve. I know that. But because I can already kind of, I feel like, tell your humor, and it's not really that serious. But yeah. No, we'll see what we can do. They'll end up being another song at some point too, and we'll end up kicking some other people's names in. Maybe kicking some of you guys out. I don't know, probably not. Anywho, what a week. Was it a good week? I don't know. For me, it was fine. It just went by really, really quick. There wasn't a terrible amount of UFO news to really go over. to just kind of put it nicely. I mean, you know this channel, you guys who come here every week, man. I try to bring you something brand new all the time. We usually don't dip back into the past unless we have to, which we do a little bit today. And you'll see the reasons why. But there was only like two really big, God, it feels even disingenuous to say big, but there was just two moments that kind of stood out throughout the week that I want to kind of go over with you guys. The first one being, of course, Brandon Fugel and Kirkpatrick. This whole feud is continuing, but Kirkpatrick did a interview with MarikvR. I've pulled clips of stuff from him before, but he's got about an hour, a little over an hour interview that's linked in the bottom too. So at the end, you guys can go watch the whole interview if you want. Now the whole interview, just in all, I guess, transparency here, I made the thumbnail last night, right after Alien Addict. I had seen some of the clips that people had pulled from the interview over the week. The most controversial ones, of course, being, him talking about what his kind of, Kirkpatrick talking about his opinion on what happened with the 2018 Senate Intel hearing with Skinwalker Ranch and all that kind of ordeal. And then the other big one, which was Grush, he talked about, we get a little bit more information on whether or not he was able to see more into the ICIG complaint. Interesting. We'll take a little bit of a quick glance at that too. All the other stuff from the past that kind of fits in there with that. And then also the NASA, the Go Fast video. And NASA caught a stray bullet this week. At least NASA gets them every once in a while. I get them all the time on Twitter, man. I'm always catching a stray, First the Lou Review stuff, and then Brian Johnson and everything blocking me after I was just kind of congratulating people. I digress, but yeah, NASA caught a little bit of heat this week, and so we'll go over a little bit of that. But as I was watching the whole interview last night, it was interesting, but boring a little bit at the same time. And I don't mean boring as like the content wasn't good or there wasn't value in it. It was just that it was very, very long-winded. And there wasn't a lot of context. Like they jumped from point to point. Like the points were interesting. Like Marik brought up some interesting kind of data that he's been going over and kind of arguing with McWest about with the gimbal footage, which I might as well start with that. I noticed when I was pulling clips for another topic that we're going to go over, which is Kevin Day. Kevin Day kind of came out a little bit. That some people have been getting this confused. That, okay, so the gimbal video and the Go Fast video, those come from the USS Roosevelt off the coast of Florida. Okay? That's where those clips come from. The Tic Tac clips comes from the Nimitz and the Prince Carrier Strike Group off of Catalina on the West Coast. So Nimitz, Princeton, West Coast, Roosevelt, East Coast. That's the gimbal and the Go Fast. Okay. The only reason why I say that is because when I was pulling clips for it, I noticed that they were like doubling over. They were using one clip of the video of like the gimbal, and then they were using the audio from Tic Tac, and it was kind of a mess. I mean, it's an older clip anyway. But anyway, God, I'm maybe going off on too much of a tangent here. But the point is that they didn't give a lot of context to that stuff, so it was very difficult for me to clip without having to go into a giant breakdown of each event that they were going over. And I was like, I don't know. A lot of people have heard the Nimitz case and the Tic Tac and all of this so many times. Like, I just didn't want to go too far into it and bore you guys with that stuff. So I tried my best to pull out what we needed, what we didn't, and we'll kind of, go from there. But yeah, what's up, Nick? Good to see you. Rotary, Steven, John Stokes, you guys. It's always cool to see you. And then everybody who's a lurker, as they say. They sit back in the chats. I lurk a lot in the Twitter spaces. I'll just play video games and listen and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we want to do. We want to go over a little bit of that interview, clips from that, go over that. And then Kevin Day, he's announcing some potential whistleblowers from the Princeton Nimitz event. Interesting. We'll take a look at that. We'll get a little bit of a refresher on him. And then finally, there's one little tiny smidge from Congress. They've been quiet. Nothing really been going on with them. A little bit of book news and an interesting old clip from Tom DeLonge on Jimmy Church from back in the day, where he's talking about reptilians a little bit. It's a short clip, but there was inspiration. I seen an image today that I said, you know what? I'm going to grab that image and I'm going to pull up this clip because I remember having this clip. And then we obviously have our AI videos of the week and so on and so forth. DB property maintenance. What's going on, buddy? Diving and watching. Yeah. Hey, man, anything you're doing, anything you're here, checking it out live or on the VOD, man, it's all great. And Hammer says, Steven, only my mom and wife. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to get better, trying to kind of look at some of your guys' chat. But you know what I do notice is that a lot of your guys' chat, you just talk to each other. You're not really talking to me. So I don't always feel like I always have to like pay perfect attention to it. I do see this from Stephen James Fox film out soon. I think that's September, dude. I think the Fox film is September, and which is actually another date that we'll talk about later on with these books that are kind of coming out. You're getting ahead of me, okay? And this is already enough. So I had to scramble around. That's the moral of the story. I know this is a really huge intro. I don't usually do big intros like this for any of this stuff, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of context. So let's get over to the big screen here, the big old screen. And we'll start off right here. Start off with start. So the thumbnail, if you've noticed it, it says Kirkpatrick, flip-flopping with a question mark. He's been under a lot of fire lately. Obviously, we talked about the missile casing claims last week when we went over the Oak Ridge National Lab report and how he was saying that the metamaterial was a missile casing. Turns out that Oak Ridge doesn't agree. So he kind of got under fire for that. Of course, the Fugel meeting was under fire with Skinwalker Ranch and then the NASA Go Fast data. So what we want to start with is I want to give you guys a little bit of a taste. Now, this is a 7-minute clip, man. It's really long. So I don't think we're going to go through this whole thing. But this is from Patrick Vetted. He was just recently interviewed Brandon Fugel, and Fugel gives a little bit more of his story, in video, in voice. A lot of the Fugel claims initially about this meeting was all through Twitter, like tweets and stuff like that. So we haven't, not that I've seen, we haven't heard him actually talk about this. So we'll play this clip and see what you guys think about. We'll go over it.
With Sean Kirkpatrick and this report, he did this interview, and it's probably one of the funniest pictures I've seen since I've, been running Vetted, is the picture you released after Sean Kirkpatrick said, I didn't go to any meeting with Brandon Fugel.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, I didn't go to any meeting. There he is. Hey, what? You know what? You didn't go to a meeting. I see Sean Kirkpatrick right there. I see Fugel right there across from each other. How about that, huh? We're going to have to pause a little bit, guys. I'll interject a little bit as least as possible.
So here's threw out that picture, and he's got this look like the villain look. Like, I thought, oh my God, what a mic drop, Brandon. I was just like, bam, that was so good.
Yeah.
Well,
like someone's photographing me here. I can.
Yeah.
Well, here you have Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who was appointed the task of leading the most recent mandated review by Congress relative to these topics, the UFO phenomena and other high strangeness. And he goes on record with the New York Post stating that, number one, he'd never met me. He didn't even know who I was. He'd never met Brandon Fugel. Number two, he'd never attended a briefing relative to Skinwalker Ranch in his life. Number three, he stated unambiguously that he had no interest in these topics before 2022.
And what did we find out about that? We found out that he did go to a meeting. He was aware of it after some, helpful reminders from some photography, that is. And that, he definitely knew who Brandon Fugel was. So we'll keep it rolling.
And here we have a briefing in April of 2018. In April of 2018, we are summoned to Washington, D.C., to provide testimony to certain committees.
Look at Hal put off. He's just chilling there. The other thing, the reason why I want to stop it is try to remember this 2018 date. I mean, we'll kind of go over it again, but keep the idea in your head as we go. I love doing this for you guys. I like to try to foreshadow a little bit of something and keep you, engaged here. So remember that date, 2018, regarding this meeting and Kirkpatrick's theory on what's going on here.
Where he was in attendance, and we spent 2.5 hours in that briefing, and I sat right across from him. I mean, we're talking eye to eye, right across from each other for 2.5 hours. And that briefing was 100% specific to Skinwalker Ranch.
It had, I think, about 55 very detailed slides in the keynote presentation that also included video and data.
Now, here's the other thing, though. I don't think we have all the slides of the entire presentation that he's talking about here. Definitely don't have the video yet. I mean, that's what everybody's kind of complaining and yelling at him for, is release the video, release the video. Now, Brandon has made his statement that he doesn't want to release it, kind of because I guess I got to paraphrase it here, and I'm trying to remember exactly the way that he said it. But originally, the whole process of him releasing the photo, well, you know what? I think he goes over it right here. I'll shut up. Let's just go ahead and listen to him.
Documenting not only the reality of the UFO phenomena and sightings and activity on Skinwalker Ranch, but also acute medical episodes that have occurred and the documentation associated with those acute medical episodes, as well as electromagnetic anomalies and phenomena that seem to attend much of the activity, that provide a fingerprint, if you will. So Dr. Kirkpatrick, for whatever reason, has amnesia, has selective amnesia, that he'd never met me, pleaded ignorance, and that he'd never attended a briefing relative to Skinwalker Ranch, or never had.
Now, listen, I think he remembers. I think he fibbed on this one a little bit. Kirkpatrick did. All right. I understand the argument. It was a long time ago. I understand he takes a lot of meetings. I wouldn't come from that angle personally. But yeah, I just wanted to interject that. We'll continue.
Any interest in these topics before 2022, yet he's attending a confidential briefing in Washington, D.C. that we had carefully orchestrated over weeks, that people had been given notice. This was very formal and very specific. And I didn't want to provide the picture. I didn't want to post a picture or any of the visual evidence that this briefing took place on
here you go.
Social media, to be quite candid. In fact, I emailed Stephen Greenstreet and I said, what are you trying to do? Why are you pursuing this line of accusation?
And, you know, I always wondered too, that when Greenstreet originally went to Skinwalker and did his report, there's video, there's images. I think I even showed this on an episode where Kirkpatrick is like leaning, or not Kirkpatrick, but Brandon's leaning into Greenstreet and showing him his phone. And Greenstreet's telling us that he's seeing these pictures, or he's seeing pictures. I don't know how he never kind of put two and two together when that happened. Maybe it just wasn't relevant to him at the time. I don't know. But I do find it weird because, you know, Greenstreet makes it out to be that this is the first time he's seen these pictures from Brandon Fugel. So I don't know. It's a little interesting interjection. I'll let him continue with this thing.
Are you trying to ruin this man's credibility? I have nothing against Dr. Kirkpatrick. I have no idea what his motives may be. What would lead him to claim that he never met me, never attended a briefing? I have no idea what kind of pressure this man is under.
So that's like his defense, right? I think that's really his defense for the video, and I can't remember exactly if he says that later on, but I feel like that's what he's going to give as his defense. So he releases the photo only because his credibility, he feels, is threatened, not to dunk on Kirkpatrick. That wasn't the point. You know, if he wanted to go for the throat, he just would have came out with the video. I think that's what he's starting to lean into here, right?
And yet you continue to push this agenda. And I pleaded with him. I said, please don't proceed with this. And yet they go ahead and they drop this story and essentially claim that I'm a liar, that I'm bearing false witness, and saying, well, who are you going to believe? You know, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, credentialed Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who's been assigned the task of leading the Arrow report and the comprehensive review of these topics? Or are you going to believe some real estate entrepreneur who owns some so-called spooky ranch in Utah? And that's
some Dino Beaver guy, huh? You going to believe the Dino Beaver guy over the DOD intel guy? What are you going to believe? Man, it's rough picking sides if I got to choose that. Jeez.
The way that it was framed, and it pissed me off. I felt like it was not only dishonest, but it was hostile and it was inappropriate. So I was forced to post the receipts. I had to bring the receipts and show
Oh, did I pause it? Yeah. Well, I love how I'll just interject this as I think interesting. He says the word receipts. Do you guys notice how because of the internet and social media, there's not really a whole lot of different like lingo or slang in between ages nowadays. The kids say receipts, you know, the teenagers. Now people in their 50s and 60s, they say it. Everyone's kind of gotten the same plane. You don't hear a whole lot about, oh man, that's some old slang. Everybody's kind of on the same board with that. I don't know. It's just some weird little thing that stood out to me.
The briefing really did take place, and it was specific to Skinwalker Ranch, and I posted images of the slides from that briefing. Dr. Kirkpatrick was not only there, but he was sitting right across from me, as evidenced by the photographic evidence that was taken. And C, there was great interest in these topics prior to 2022, going back to at least specific to Skinwalker Ranch, going back to 2018 and before, that led up to being summoned to DC to give this briefing with my principal investigator, Eric Bard, Dr. Jim Segala, who'd been consulting with us for quite some time. Again, all of this predates any television docuseries. We hadn't had any discussions.
Yeah, and I will probably go ahead and cut the rest of the clip at that point. And there's a couple minutes left, but I don't know if it really goes over much more what we really need here. Yeah, I mean, look, Kirkpatrick was essentially, and I think we get a little bit with him when we start giving getting his account of what kind of happened here with it. But he was asked to kind of be a third party stand-in. I mean, I don't think they told him what he was going to talk about or what he was going to be sitting in on, what kind of a meeting. I don't think they waited till he got there. They probably asked him if he wanted to come in on this thing. And if it was about Skinwalker Ranch, if it was about everything that was going on, that's been going on with Fugel, then, you would have had to have some interest to go, right? I'm not saying that the guy is a UFO addict, Kirkpatrick, but I'm saying, don't act like you've never seen the movie E.T. before. Don't act like this wouldn't be something that would gauge your interest, like you didn't want to go. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't feel like Kirkpatrick was drugged to this 2018 meeting kicking and screaming, okay? I just don't really think so. But that's my opinion. So let's go ahead and jump over to his, right? All right, let me go ahead and grab this. Now, this is, we're going to start getting into the clips from the actual Marik interview here at this point. And this is from Jay. Jay says, who's telling the truth? Oh, wait, I can zoom in a little bit on this for you guys. I also zoom in on it for myself, too. Yeah, well, I'll touch on this part. This is kind of an interesting little argument here from Fugel, because Fugel expands on this. We might as well read it before. No, we'll do the clip and then we'll get the basis. So
was asked by some of the right.
Okay, so this is Sean Kirkpatrick's take with Marik in this latest interview here.
Right? And that particular meeting, I was asked by some of those Senate staffers that are in that picture to come be a objective third party, listen to what they have to say and give us your feedback.
Right. Subject matter expert type of a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, if one could claim subject matter.
The voice went up. He was so happy that Marik gave him that devil's advocate there. Yeah. He's like
expertise in this. So I went so I think at the time, if I remember the time frame correctly, I was actually between assignments.
Yep.
I had been the senior S&TI officer for the Pentagon. I was going to Colorado to stand up Space Command. I think that was the time frame.
So he was on his way, right? So he was on that side of town.
And I was asked to come take a listen and give thoughts. I did. I told him I thought it was not real. I thought they were doing pseudoscience and they weren't even really doing their science very well.
Yeah.
And it was
He told that to who? The staffers that invited him, or did he say that to Brandon Fugel? I don't think he said that to Fugel. You think he went up to him and said, that's just pseudoscience, man. You guys aren't doing anything well. I mean, maybe. I kind of doubt it, though. It's interesting that he says that, though.
Publicity thing. I mean, there was a picture taken. I mean, I think there were several pictures taken. And whoever the guy was, who I couldn't pick out if I saw him in a lineup, had nothing to offer. But then later, a couple of months ago, tried to make this a thing.
Yeah.
And I think even went so far as to say that I had led the meeting, that I had said that this is something that we need to go jump on. And
You guys think he led the meeting? I don't know about leading the meeting. I'd have to see the video on that. But he was pretty far up on the table, huh? He was pretty far up there. He wasn't out of the frame. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I see Jeff Garvey just dropped in. How you doing, Jeff? We got Fairy. That's oh, why am I blanking? Because I'm thinking about this over here. So, but either way, Spite Fairy, good to see you. I remember your other name. I'm trying to remember your other name off the top of my head. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How about that, Gebs? Good to see you guys. All right, we'll continue here with this.
and nothing could be further from the truth. That's such an embellishment of the circumstances.
Oh, such an embellishment of the circumstances. Okay. So there's that. So that's his take. He's saying no, no, no. You know? He's completely separating himself. He's not given an inch to Fugel's story here. Besides the only, inch that he has to give, which is he was there. He can't get away from that, right? But so I'm not really surprised, I guess, that he's, I don't know. I guess I'm not surprised he's as defensive as he is. This tweet's under this video. So this is from Brandon Fugel. It says, Dr. Kirkpatrick publicly stated in an interview that he had never met me, never attended any type of briefing regarding Skinwalker Ranch in Washington, D.C., and never had any interest in these topics prior to 2022. We kind of heard that a little bit, which was simply not true. Sapphire Elf, that was the name, Sprite Fairy. Sorry about that. It just came to me as I'm reading this. Good to see you, Sapphire. Where am I? I was being called a liar. So I was unfortunately forced to set the record straight, providing irrefutable evidence that he had indeed met me, sat across from me at the head of the table for 2.5 hours while I gave a presentation with my team of scientists, specifically about Skinwalker Ranch, and he was obviously interested in these topics in 2018. There was absolutely no publicity, as I did not want my identity ever publicly revealed as the owner of the ranch at the time. Photo/video was taken discreetly. Nobody has discredited me. Quite the contrary. Game over. Dude, he put the game over in there. I give him style points for the game over at the very end there. The reason why I even grabbed the rest of this tweet here was because he says there was absolutely no publicity. Kirkpatrick states that this was like publicity. This was an event that was that way. However, the way that he looks down the table, and I know we just kind of seen this, but let's take a look at this again. The way that he looks down the table at this photo, does that face look to you like he's expecting a photo? That doesn't look like he's expecting a photo, man. I don't know. That's like a look of like, what are you doing in here? Put the camera away. I don't really want to be seen here. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting to say the least. The next part I wanted to take a look at, and I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit to be able to see kind of where I'm at here. Where was it? I wanted to kind of give you guys some comments too from other people. Oh, I'm gonna give you away my AI videos early, man. I always got to do that when I flip back. So let's take a look at what Stephen Greenstreet has to say on this matter here. Okay, let me zoom back in. I want to get some other takes surrounding this thing, might as well. Is there another way that I can, man, they've got to figure this thing out. Oh, you can just do that. Okay, that works too. This is Stephen Greenstreet. Because Spooky Ranch Man has me blocked. Man, why has he got him blocked, huh? I know they argue, but unblock him. And he's got the little pig up there too. If you guys, just as a little fun fact here, if you don't know, the pig in Stephen Greenstreet's name on here is that Brandon Fugel called him swine, called him pig. So he really owned that. That was pretty funny. Says, because Spooky Ranch Man has me blocked, here's my response to real estate mogul Brandon Fugel. You have not provided proof you met Sean Kirkpatrick beyond simply presenting a PowerPoint with him in the audience. Okay, sure. You have not provided proof that the entire 2018 briefing was only about Skinwalker Ranch and not other things. Your associate Hal Putoff says the briefing was not just about Skinwalker Ranch. Is Mr. Putoff wrong? It's a good question. It's a good little view of it. You have not provided evidence that Kirkpatrick was, quote unquote, interested in the UFO topic prior to 2022. Well, I mean, like I said, I think he did. He showed up to the meeting. I'm sure they told him what the meeting was. You have not provided evidence that Kirkpatrick was, quote unquote, seated at the head of the table. So he's not really at the head. Yeah, I kind of agree with him, but like I said, he's pretty far up there, man. You have not provided evidence. You guys think that was the head of the table? I mean, where do you guys lean on that? Throw something out, man. I'll try to be a little bit better at looking at the chat, man. You've not provided evidence that Kirkpatrick was, quote unquote, one of the gentlemen leading the discussion. Yeah, that is a big thing that's still missing. We need that, without a doubt. And once again, the video will help provide that if he has it. You have not provided evidence that Kirkpatrick proclaimed his belief in the UFO phenomenon. It's kind of a little bit redundant. Yeah, well, once again, if we have the video, You provided a photo, and that's it. I'm assuming that's all you actually have, because much like your claims regarding the Scooby-Doo Ghost Ranch, you provided absolutely nothing to back those claims up. Okay, so that's Green Street's opinion on it. Not really surprised, even though I guess the only thing that's a little bit surprising about the direction he's went here a little bit is that when he initially did the interview with Kirkpatrick a month or so ago, that kind of blew this whole story open with the photo and Fugel, was that he seemed to be kind of really grilling Kirkpatrick, maybe kind of steering the other direction against him. But I don't know. Like I said, guys, I like to get in both sides on this. I think Green Street makes a couple really decent points here. You know, you can't hate on a good point, man, whether or not you agree with the guy and what he feels about the topic or not. Yeah, and this was the interesting part right here. This was the one where I was telling you guys to kind of pay attention to. Not over here. We'll go full screen with this. Where I talked about, remember 2018, okay? Brandon Fugel says, I will repeat, there was no mention of ATIP OSAP. The entire purpose of the 4/19/2018 meeting, which involved flying members of my team across the U.S. to D.C., was to review/discuss the data and evidence of activity at Skinwalker Ranch under my ownership. The weird thing about that to me is that, and I could be missing something here. And if I am, put it in the comments or something like that, let me know. But ATIP and OSAP, however you want to assign those acronyms and what the names were, all of that aside, okay? Let's just think about the dates here. So ATIP, OSAP, what have you, ended in supposedly 2012. If it was ended in 2012, I know we had Kona Blue that was kind of like looking for more funding, right? So there was like a little bit with DHS, right? They were trying to kind of push that program forward, but I don't really know what that would have to do with a conversation with Fugel and them. I just don't know why they'd be talking about it at that point. 6 years later, I'm missing the connection there. That's why I kind of doubt that there was a bunch of ATIP OSAP. It's so removed from when that program was officially put down. You know what I mean? I don't know. When I look at the dates, it just seems strange to me, right? I was the boy. Was the meeting supposed to be confidential? Yeah. What is this? What is this right here? Oh, this is the same clip. Yeah, this was kind of a hard part to like grab these comments and stuff on Twitter, because a lot of people were posting and reposting this interview, like clips from it, and you got to really get finicky and dip around and try to bookmark it perfect so you can roll through it and find the next place you want to go. Sometimes it just kind of runs into each other. All right, so you kind of got to make up your mind when it comes to a lot of that. Let me read a little bit what you guys got going on here. Garvey says, commercial real estate is not as exciting as running a TV show or starting a crazy ranch for tours. Yeah, that's probably true, man. That's probably true. It's probably a lot more money in commercial real estate though, right? Seems like that would be the head of the table position. Property maintenance says, seems like that would be the head. Yeah, I mean, because you couldn't get much more. Can we get some head? Jesus, man, clean it up on this channel, will you? I mean, this is, this would be, I guess, really considered the head. He's not far. He's not far. I mean, it is separated. So if you wanted to argue that he never led the meeting, you can definitely tell, okay, you got the monitor over here. You got Fugel and the crew. You got Put Off. You got the boys here, right? There's clearly a dividing line. You got Kurt McConnell here sitting way more. You could consider the head of the table. And then Kirkpatrick, Senate staffers, everybody's on one side. So it's definitely split. So at some point in time, you got to find the reason why Kirkpatrick would have got up, brought his team, or just at least brought himself to the other side of the table, which is weird too, right? It just seems like the the people that were running the majority of the meeting, maybe I'm just thinking of that because of where the monitor is. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Yeah, but no, DB, he's pretty close. He's pretty close. So an investment of $2 million, give a gross earning of $6 million. Hey, have you heard the Contact in the Desert presentation where Danny Sheehan talks about the what is that supposed to be? Pope's power? I'm trying to read some of this stuff and sort it out, get the context. OCE Ram says Greenstreet's a bit of a dick. Yeah, he is. He knows he's a bit of a dick, though, man. He's aware. Don't get my clip early here. Sometimes I go full screen on that and it causes an issue. All right, so that's going to kind of wrap up that section of the interview, like his whole response here. Now, this next clip comes along with a little bit of a comment here from Stephen Greenstreet. We're going to go over the clip first. This was one of the other big moments from it. Kirkpatrick says Arrow has the non-retaliation portions of Grush's ICIG complaint. If accurate, why are we only learning this now, given Grush's profile? I want to read the rest of this here. Given Grush's profile, why was this not clarified months ago in the historical report? Yeah, it is interesting. And if we kind of take a little bit of a jump back here, when we look at the non-retaliation portions of Grush's ICIG complaint, we were asking for this when these leaks came out. You guys remember the signal leaks between Kirkpatrick and Christopher Mellon? I snagged this for us too, if you remember this part. And Kirkpatrick actually in this interview clears this up a little bit where he says DOJ. I think he means ICIG here. He says ICIG has to release it since it's part of a criminal investigation. Because this is where Christopher Mellon says this. I spoke with Dave and his first question was, why hadn't blank all the info? I believe it's, Arrow here. All the info from the ICIG. It is all there and fully documented to include a confirmation the program is real, active, cleared insiders. So we were all like, okay, what's going on with that? So in the response, Kirkpatrick says ICIG has to release it since it's part of a criminal investigation. They haven't yet. He needs to come to tell us separate from his criminal complaint, which, yeah, I mean, that would be good, because the problem that Kirkpatrick is saying that Arrow had with getting this portion that he's going to talk about here is that it's behind the law enforcement delineation, I guess maybe the best way to put it. He couldn't get access to it. And so if you remember way back, I was saying, well, then get the part of the portions that weren't about the retaliation, so we can actually understand what these programs are, the insiders, all of the information that people are kind of looking for Grush to go from Arrow. So this is where this comes from. I just thought it was cool to kind of pull that up and tie that back, but we'll go ahead and watch the clip here and we'll get a little bit more of his take.
And to talk to So Grush had gone in to talk to those two, ICIG and DODIG, and we had to they couldn't just give me the statement because it's protected under law enforcement whistleblower protections.
Yeah, there you go. That's the better way to say it. So law enforcement whistleblower protections.
So we had to go through this long process of getting the relevant data pulled out and separate it from his complaint about wrongful prosecution.
Retaliation, yeah.
Now he says, now we had to. What he means is the ICIG had to do that. I know that's maybe like a weird thing to try to clarify, but I don't know. Maybe people could think that Arrow was kind of ripping through that themselves. They weren't.
Right.
We had to separate the data, if he had any, from that. The data that was provided, we cross-referenced with what we'd already known because we had interviewed most of the people that he had already talked to, and there was nothing new.
Arrow received I just want to get this clear. Arrow received portions of Grush's ICIG complaint.
We got the portions that did not have to do with retaliation.
Which is what we were asking for. That's what I said. That's what I said. And I think in the leaked emails from that same signal dump that Greenwald put out, I believe they were referencing that to someone, a part of, God, I'm trying to remember the guy's name now. It was David something. That's what he was kind of suggesting to Kirkpatrick, like, hey, look, man, you got to get them to give you the portions that aren't covered under that. So I guess he did, and Kirkpatrick is now saying that bunk. Nothing came from it. Followed along the same kind of lines, same kind of stories that they've already been hearing, didn't go anywhere. I mean, you got to either believe that from him or you don't, right? So I don't know. It's hard. It's up in the air for me because, you know, as of lately, it's just hard to take a lot of what he says without a grain of salt, man. There's been some inconsistencies and stuff, and you're going to see that over this next NASA Go Fast clip that we go over. And we already kind of seen that with the metallurgy situation with Oak Ridge. So I don't know. The more interviews this guy does, the more he's been talking lately, which is already weird enough. He's been all over the place. He never spoke this much while he was at Arrow. And he might have had his reasons for that or whatever. He didn't want to maybe get caught in the middle of having to answer questions and ongoing investigations that they were doing and then feeling like they were short on information. I mean, there could be a million reasons why. And I guess I get that. But for someone who's not interested in the topic, was never interested in UFOs prior to 2022, he sure loves to be in this UFO spotlight, doesn't he? He's here. He's not going away. Which I had thought that I heard that he was done after the Fugel debacle, after the Green Street interview that he did. I mean, he said he couldn't wait to get out of here. And now he's still doing interviews, huh? So where am I supposed to go with this guy? Can I believe him blindly? No. Should David Grush come out here? And is this another moment where Grush's credibility or at least, you know, all these things that he's been you know, portraying that are here and divulging? Where is Grush? I know I complained about this a couple of weeks ago, but I got to keep complaining about it a little bit, man. I can't lie. It burns me a little bit. It irritates me. It does. A lot about this topic right now irritates me. You know? I can't be the only one. I try to put the smile on, but sometimes I got to keep it real with you guys, man. It's annoying, dude. You know, I want to know more. I want to know more. And every time we seem to get a little bit further down the road, Kirkpatrick drops a nugget like this where he says, hey, look, I've already seen that portion of his ICIG. You know, that comes after we already find a lot of fallacies and a lot of holes and a lot of flip-flopping that's been going on with him. And then it's like, shit, man, I really want to believe you. I do. I want to give you more credit. But you just won't let me. You won't let me, man. So this is Green Street's take on this here. This isn't new. This isn't a new revelation. A chunk of the Arrow report is regarding Grush's claims of alien space monsters. Arrow was mandated by Congress to look into those claims. Arrow then determined there are no alien space monsters and put that in the historical report. They didn't put this part in the historical report, though, Green Street. They didn't. We didn't know that he had this portion. So I hear what you're saying. I get the angle that you're coming from. Like I'm talking to him right now. I guess I'm talking to his Twitter account here. I get that, but I've never heard of this. That he even got those portions until now. So I understand the idea of we've already kind of went through a lot of this, yeah. But I don't really agree that this is completely old information. I don't see that. He says, like Grush, he's my kind of... They are Earth space monsters. Look, like I said, I'm just trying to kind of go through this the best that I can and piece this stuff out. I mean, I agree that everything that's probably going into Arrow isn't true, right? I'm sure that there are some people that have probably spoke to them but have been either misinformed or aren't bringing the greatest information. Dude, I'm not trying to argue that. I'm really not trying to argue that Kirkpatrick is a monster here at all. I'm just trying to point out that once again, it's so difficult to pick a side, which is why I don't on this topic, even though I may lean directions from time to time. It's so damn hard to do that because this is what happens, man. This is the kind of shit that goes on. Okay. I digress from that. Interesting little portion of the clip though. All right. Now there's two versions of this clip. So there's a clip that we're coming up on here, and this is kind of a flashback to what Kirkpatrick originally had said about this Go Fast video. If you guys remember, man, how long ago was this? 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. I'm approaching a year on this channel, by the way. The channel started in August. So yeah, I would assume it was right around the time Skyfire News started up their channel. And yeah, I guess shout out to those guys too, Tupa and Red. You know, big shout out to them. And by the way, guys, we're going to go over time today. Like there's no way to kind of go around it. We're going to go a little over an hour today. But I think this was probably 5 months ago, 6 months ago, because I was on there and I was talking with those guys about this interview right here and these statements that he was making. So this says, the U.S. government cannot tell the truth about UAP. This is from Marik. Yeah, so this is, he clipped his own interview here and he's giving his opinion. The U.S. government, okay, here is ex-Aero director Dr. Kirkpatrick caught an objectively clear, unambiguous lie. This is really bad, guys. This is really rough right here. Months ago, he backed NASA's analysis of the Go Fast video, but today he told me, quote unquote, I haven't looked at NASA's analysis. Damn, dude. This is the kind of crap I'm talking about. So let's get this. Let's play the clip here. This is from the original interview of him talking about the Go Fast video.
Go Fast actually was explained at the NASA panel. They did a really nice job of pulling that apart and demonstrating that that was parallax.
I've got a lot more, just briefly.
Is that true? They did a really good job at pulling it apart and doing the parallax, huh? Now, he just seems to be talking out of his butt lately, guys. Jeez Louise, same thing with that missile casing. There was nothing about that anywhere else. That was his opinion on it.
They did a really nice job of pulling that apart and demonstrating that that was parallax.
I've got a lot more, just briefly, quickly on Go Fast.
Okay.
NASA did not.
You guys can't hear this. Let me back this up. So we do a hard cut here, obviously, because he puts these two clips together. So we go from the OG clip, and you know that. And then what I can do, which is cool, is I have this software here that lets me boost the volume. Let me boost this volume a little bit for you guys.
I've got a lot more, just.
Yeah, that's way better. Okay, let me roll this back just a hair. Okay, so cut to his opinion on the NASA Go Fast video.
Parallax.
Today.
I've got a lot more, just briefly, quickly on Go Fast.
Okay.
NASA did not account for wind. That's a massive scientific error. And when you account for wind, you get a speed. If you're assuming the range is correct and this object was at 13,000 feet, you get a speed that's closer to 100 knots, 120 miles an hour.
Now, let's be honest. I can't do trigonometry, okay? I have no idea. For me in math and stuff like that, it's a nightmare. I'm a visual guy, that's just how I am. So this is the statement. So we found out that NASA had a little bit of a flub here, okay? Maybe they need to bone up on their trigonometry. But it says they found 40 miles an hour initially. That was the speed of the Go Fast with their analysis of that video, okay? Because you remember NASA did their big report on UAPs and, obviously nothing to see here. Now, when you account for the wind that they didn't, they find that it's going between 100 and 125 miles per hour when you're including that, okay? So NASA flubbed, all right? Now, the interesting part is nobody at Aero seemed to catch that. Sean Kirkpatrick said that what did he say? Ripped it apart, piece to piece, took it apart. What they went through was right. Interesting. What's he doing over there? Is this just another mistake? I gotta give him a pass again. He said he looked at the analysis. He looked at the data. This is the second time, man, he's made a statement about something that I feel like he didn't really pay attention to. And if he's the head of the damn program and he's not paying attention, how can I trust the rest of the regime over at Aero? Look, I'm sure they're great people. But the problem is they need a good leader, right? Now, a guy in a Twitter space, his name is Experience. He's a super smart guy. He made a point, though, where he was like, well, maybe they're not all bad, though. Maybe there are people that care about their job there. And that may be true. But the only pushback I could give against that would be that out of all the people that care more about their job at Aero than Kirkpatrick does, no one tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, we haven't even looked into that stuff yet. Don't speak on that yet. Nobody? I don't know. The more and more that this stuff comes out, the more that it seems like they're not paying as much attention as they should be, especially for the amount of credibility and the weight of their word that they want taken from Congress and the American people. We got to do better than this. Don't forget, Aero and NASA had a liaison. They were sharing data. They weren't sharing classified data, obviously, but they were sharing data. So I don't know. I felt like there should be more cohesion here. We should have more consistency here. But I'll go ahead and let the clip finish up here.
That's a pretty stunning error on NASA's part, I think.
Well, I haven't
planes
seen-
don't fly in vacuums, right?
I haven't looked at NASA's analysis.
I haven't looked at NASA's analysis. Play the clip again. He hasn't looked at it. What did he do?
Actually was explained at the NASA panel. They did a really nice job of pulling that apart. And
You're doing a really good job of pulling yourself apart, Kirkpatrick. How many more passes I got to give this guy, huh? I'm really close to just not dealing with Aero. Not really like caring too much about what they say. I mean, I know Kirkpatrick's out of there. I mean, he's kind of a consultant or whatever, but you know, he's chilling over at Oak Ridge now. But I feel like a lot of people are this way with Aero, man. You know, I even tweeted this the other night. I was thinking about the episode and what I was gonna do, and I was thinking about doing this, pulling these clips and going over this. And I thought, I don't know, man. Do people really even care about what's been going on with Aero? A lot of people are just pissed. You know, a lot of people are just pissed at Aero. They don't agree with them, and whether that's, you know, correct or not, I don't know. But this is the kind of stuff that irritates me. It just is. Okay, let's try to continue here. Otherwise, I'm gonna go on a rant. Was there a little bit extra here? I think he just loops this here. I think Panda just loops this, or whoever from Skyfire did this. All right, where are we at? Wow, we're at 54 minutes. Holy. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna leave it at that. I had two other clips, but they're really not incredible. Should I at least show the one though? Okay, I'm just gonna play a little bit of this clip because this is we'll end this whole situation with Kirkpatrick, Aero, everything. I know it kind of bleeds together a little bit. It's just the nature of the beast when we go over this. This is a 2-minute clip. We're not going to play the whole entire thing, but I do want to give you an example of this because going forward, when we look at this report that's supposed to have data, the second report from Aero, this is the kind of breakdown that I want. Okay, I want somebody. Doesn't have to be Kirkpatrick because he's not really dealing with them, but somebody at Aero to do work and present the way that Marik has presented here, whether you agree with his position or not. Let's look at this.
Some basic, no wizardry here, just some basic adjustments. You get something that looks something like a Tic Tac. Commander Fravor, Lieutenant.
This is from the same interview. You can't see him, but Kirkpatrick's up there. Okay, watch how Marik breaks this stuff down.
Commander Dietrich both mentioned these low-profile appendages, or they called them possibly looking like pitot tubes. I'm not going to belabor this, but we've done the same 3D analysis. Any aircraft that within those lines of sight, it's significantly constrained because in the Tic Tac video, you're looking 5-6 degrees up and they're already at 20,000 feet. So you're very constrained in terms of range of what's plausible and reasonable for an aircraft. And any aircraft that's flying in a remotely level attitude or trajectory profile would look like what you have on the left here. That's the line of sight from the F-18 that recorded the video. Clearly doesn't match what's on the right. We don't need to belabor this point, but it does rule out an aircraft unless it has we calculated a 13 or 14 degree angle of attack, which no plane would be this system or
I'm going to skip ahead a little
simulator
bit.
where you can actually put different objects in and you can actually play around with the pixelation and the degradation of the data, and you can get a pretty darn good match with, damn it, that looks like a Tic Tac shaped object with the appendages that the eyewitnesses recall.
I mean, look at this guy. This guy's sitting down. He's pulling up multiple images, examples, reasons of why. We haven't seen anyone in Aero do this. The Eglin Air Force Base report that they put out was about as close as you're going to get to them really releasing a whole lot of data. I mean, the Oak Ridge report is there, but why don't we have people like breaking down these? This is what I want them to do with the Tic Tac when they go over the gimbal. This is the kind of breakdown that I want. If we don't get this, and we get this from the YouTubers and stuff out there, it's a problem. Am I wrong?
Again, this is about an hour or so after Commander Fravor and the other air crews.
Kirkpatrick's just staring. You guys can't really see this. He's just kind of like staring here, like, you know, like this guy's done a lot of work here.
At closer range, and you get another version of this here.
He looks like his
pretty
blood's
darn
flowing
good
a bit,
match
too.
when you put in 3D modeling a Tic Tac. And last but not least, we've gotten quite a bit into the weeds. Don't need to dive into this too much, but the bottom line is the anti-air warfare coordinator, the radar operator, if you will.
This is the stuff we want, man. This is the kind of breakdown you want from Arrow. I don't know. I don't want anything else, man. I want them to really, if they want me to take it serious completely, they need to do the work, break it down. If they want all of that credit. If Kirkpatrick wants to say stuff in the UAPDA is duplicative and stuff like that, we don't need these certain things. It's all extra, or it's all, like you said, duplicative. It's already there. Come on, man. It's going to be, we need work from Arrow. Moody Mongol says, Dr. Kirkpatrick just stated on social media, terrestrial, he stated there is no more information in this video. Those who say there is, to them, I say this information does not exist. Yeah, he's still in defense mode, man. I don't blame him. He's got to defend himself, right? I don't have any issue with that whatsoever, right? Okay, let's move on here, because we're like I said, we'll probably be at about an hour and a half. This next section is probably a little bit shorter than going over the main meat and potatoes, which is usually the thumbnail. Okay, so this came out July 19th. Shout out to Skyfire here. This was a really good, interesting catch here. It says new Nimitz UFO witnesses to come forward. Kevin Day, who was in the Navy and present during the 2004 Tic Tac UFO event, says more witnesses from the event will be going public. He warned them to, quote unquote, make damn sure you want to do this. All right. That's interesting enough. Source Ozark Mountain Publishing. Now, I believe, let me double check, because like I said, I got my notes, boys. I always got my notes here. This clip that we're about to play. This is from the Ozark conference from April this year. Okay, so it's like a few months old, but it's coming out now. I had the luck to be sitting in a Twitter space, and John Schrader, and I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he's a big guy on Twitter, and then obviously Red Panic Wall. Everybody knows Red. They were kind of talking about this event. John had brought this up and said, "Hey, what do we know about these new Nimitz whistleblowers?" You know, and now obviously Kevin Day was on the Princeton, the Carrier Strike Group, but they kind of go over that, and Red had said, yeah, you know, this clip had come from the Ozarks a couple months ago. But we'll go ahead and play the clip. Actually, you know what? Just before that, I grabbed a couple of clips here just to give anybody who's maybe doesn't really remember exactly who Kevin Day is. I grabbed a clip here that gives a little bit a short recount of his kind of a whole association with that account.
In the morning of the 14th, we had planned to do a major air defense exercise. So we were off the coast about 90 miles off San Diego that day. I was up on watch. I was anti-air warfare coordinator. I'm the actual
So he's an anti-air warfare coordinator. Worked with the radar.
guy that makes the identifications. My whole job is to identify stuff that flies.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I noticed these really strange contacts off Catalina Island. They were at 28,000 feet in a real loose formation, and they were tracking south at 100 knots.
Oh, God. I don't know if this is from History Channel off of another YouTube channel or not, but I hope we don't get killed on using this clip, man. Because there's a lot of music and there's a lot of stuff in here. I hope we don't get killed.
Interesting. I'm a pilot. I can see why you're like, whoa, what's something that slow doing this high up?
I had never seen anything fly like that before. Immediately we're thinking, hey, are these things real? You know, is this some type of glitch? So, and we ran a bunch of diagnostic tests, and we brought all our systems back up, and the contacts were stronger now.
The object seemed to ping-pong through the sky, changing speed and directions.
Yeah, and they went from 28,000 feet to the surface in under a second. Boom. Okay, Let's end the clip there so we don't get destroyed over it. But that's a little, if you guys, just a little refresher, remember who the hell we're talking about here. It's been a while. We haven't heard much from this guy. So I even though, you know, people have probably heard about it and they've heard of this case. I mean, the Nimitz case and stuff has been beaten to death. I mean, everyone talks about it a billion times. So let me go ahead and get this clip going. But this is the clip of him at the Ozark conference announcing that these whistleblowers are behind the scenes kind of forming up. We keep hearing about this stuff, man, that people are forming up behind the scenes.
I got some new witnesses about to come out. I'm not going to reveal anything about them because we're still working it. And I've warned everyone. I've told them, make damn sure you want to do this because News 8's going to be knocking on your door.
He doesn't look too good, huh? I know he's had trouble in the past. You know, he took the event really serious. I don't know. He don't look great, man. Hope the best for the guy, man.
You better be sure your family's ready and your employer's ready because it's going to change your life. It really is. And
looks like it changed his, huh?
And some of the things that are going to happen to you is going to come out of the blue. And a fact that a lot of this, and I didn't.
I should have edited in James Fox, like putting his head around the corner. He said out of the blue and he goes, you know, kind of looks in the frame.
Never realized it for a time. I wasn't the only one affected. Nope. We're going to talk a little bit about what happens because it definitely affected me.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it affected him. So yeah, so I don't know. This was a big story. The interesting thing about this is that who are these whistleblowers that are going to come all along with him, right? Radar people that worked along with him. Are we going to get the guy who, John Strader brought this point up, are we going to get the guy who actually took the Tic Tac video? Is he going to come forward and talk about that video? That'd be pretty huge, guys. That'd be very, very, very interesting. Also, are we going to get witnesses that talk about how the data was taken? That the helicopters came in, sat down, they walked in, took all the data and left. Remember, Kirkpatrick says there was no radar data. It's not there. There were no helicopters. He said there were no helicopters that came in to get it. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about that, that's another thing. How would he know? He's kind of been speaking out of his ass for a while, hasn't he, Kirkpatrick? Man, I don't know. But hopefully we learn more about that. You know, we can get some confirmation on that, right? That'd be interesting. So there is that situation with him. And there's no ETA. We don't know when the whistleblowers are coming. They're probably forming up with Grush. Let's start that rumor, huh? Kevin Day and Grush, they're forming up. It was 40 whistleblowers, then it was 80. Now we're going to say it's 120. We're jumping. It's going to be a whole damn group of people running down the streets of DC. Telling the whole damn world. Speaking of DC, huh? How about that segue? Let's jump into Congress, huh? Not really much to talk about. It's unfortunate. I'm still glued to Matt Laszlo here. Shout out to him. See what's going on. But, you know, nevertheless, you get a little bit of something to maybe wet the beak a little bit here. So in true ufology fashion, you know, we get a teaser. Everything always seems to be a teaser. The tweet says, Congressional UAP caucus may be growing in 2025. And quote, can we go off the record? And that's a Republican congressional candidate asked Matt Laszlo at the RNC 2024 in Milwaukee. Remember that part in Wayne's World where he goes, it's Milwaukee. What was his name? What was the singer in that movie, in that part? Dude, it's going to kill me to remember that. Alice Cooper. Yeah, Alice Cooper. They're backstage Alice Cooper. We're not worthy. Anyway, and so he says, yeah. And he says, I love what you're doing with UAPs. I read every post. So we have another Republican congressional candidate saying that he reads every post. So subscribe and get our UFO news when the members of, show more, Congress and congressional aspirants do. Okay. I'll learn to read some days, guys. But there's nothing more than that. So yeah, go show him some love, man. He continues to. I thought for a minute that he was gonna kind of quit doing UFOs. He really wasn't getting the money and stuff that he wanted to support, and so I kind of thought he was gonna quit. I'm happy he didn't. He's still hanging around. I'd love to talk to him, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to get an interview with him, huh? That'd be pretty awesome to say the least. Okay, a couple more things. We're at hour 7. So that's your congressional update. Not a whole lot to say. Alice Cooper, yeah. Moody Mongo, I'll read this really quick. Would like to see his medical reports. So many in the military seems affected by strange effects. The clue is when their medical reports are closed to the public. Yeah, Moody. Yeah. I mean, look, Moody, anything that we can get that's new, brother, I'm dying for it. You know? Full disclosure, this episode was not easy to put together for me, man. You know? I know we're going over time, but still, I wasn't like, how do I say it? Like I was excited for today, but I was kind of like, man, I wish I could just bring a little bit more heat. I always want to bring as much heat as I can, and sometimes it gets a little bit difficult. So Secret Machines War, the third and final volume in our nonfiction series with academic Peter Lavenda, will be in stores on September 17th. See, I wasn't lying, Steve. That's the other September date that we were talking about. So James Fox got the documentary in September, and then also War is going to come out from Tom DeLonge, TTSA. Pre-order yours from the 2 to Stars today. And thank you to everyone who found it and early made it a #1 new release on Amazon. So this is coming. All right. You can pre-order the book if you want to. I remember, just a little quick anecdote on this. I remember reading Secret Machines when it came out, the first book. Man, it was great. Read it twice. That was when I was just like, man, you know, TTSA, everybody loved Tom with the topic back then. It was great. It was really great. I believe that was 2016. Yeah, I think it was 2016 when that first book came out. Yeah, it was great. But that one's coming if you wanted to check out that. And I will say this. The Gods book was very, very dense material. It was very, I don't know how to describe it. It's a tough read. Okay, it's a very, very tough read. I can't think of the word, and I don't want to waste time anymore going over that, or trying to think of the word. But yeah, it's a heavy read. It's very interesting though. A lot of esoteric stuff in there. And then also another book. We got a little bit of update on Elizondo's book here. As some of you may know, my dear friend and colleague Chris Mellon has graciously offered to write the foreword of my book, Imminent, and has just completed his narration for the audiobook portion. I believe it is imperative the book remains authentic, and that's why I chose to also narrate the rest of the book. It is our way of keeping your experience personal and a way for us to remain connected to you all who have been vital in helping disclosure to get where it is today. We hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm happy that Lou's going to read it. I'd rather hear him read it. That's going to make it so much easier to understand, you know, the emphasis. We'll get the emphasis. We won't have to parse as much about, you know, what did he mean there? You know, how did he feel? I think he's going to give a lot of a more of an emotional performance than people probably think. He's a good speaker. He's interesting to listen to. And then also obviously Mellon writing the foreword. I don't think anybody's really surprised about that. But him actually recording it, once again, very cool. I think that I think all authors should do this if they can. Graham Hancock narrated, you know, Fingerprints of the Gods and in his books. That's so awesome. I love to hear Graham talk. So yeah, it's great to hear it. So there's a little bit of news. So if you were thinking about listening to it or reading it, maybe you were teetering on which one, this might be the thing that kind of sets you over the edge. I'm going to listen to it personally. I'm going to listen to it and just take notes throughout the entire time to break down the whole book on the channel, and we'll try to, you know, get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, a couple more things here. Look at this photo. Look at this damn photo. Oh my goodness here. All right, so 8 hours ago, Reptile Hybrid. This guy was in the UFO log contest with me. The reptilians have a soft spot for Donald Trump. No hard feelings, Donnie. This is hilarious, man. Whether you like Trump, hate him, this is very, very funny. But, you know, you look at a former president holding a reptilian, and I thought, you know what? That's interesting. Because recently, Ryan Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe's son, was talking about how Tom DeLonge had supposedly behind the scenes speaking to Chris Bledsoe, had made claims that, reptilians were kind of like eating people and essentially running the world. Okay. And a lot of people have been kind of going back and forth on whether or not that that's true, that Tom and them really said that, or how that story all played out. But what I thought was interesting about that when I first heard that story from Bledsoe, and this all just kind of sparked all this in my head, is I remember from an interview, I believe 2016 with Jimmy Church, where Tom talks about his like feelings on the idea of reptilian presidents and all of that. So let's play this clip really quick. And by the way, this is one of my favorite interviews with Tom by far. I think this is this entire interview is actually really, really good. Some of the information is kind of dated, but it's pretty cool. Let's listen to it.
Bigger issue than any of us in our tiny little brains reading dumb conspiracies online and running around on forums and just coming up with all this stupid stuff about, this group of people and globalists and alien agendas and reptile presidents and just stupid stuff. And
just stupid stuff. Okay. Let's play it again.
Globalists and alien agendas and reptile presidents and just stupid stuff.
Okay. So what do we want to believe? That Tom changed his mind? Did Tom change his mind since 2016? What would have made Tom change his mind? Whole lot more contact with Elizondo. I don't know. It's interesting. So it's hard to like decide on whether or not, you believe that behind the scenes, this is this kind of stuff that was being said. Now, look, I've never made like a lot of statements about Chris Bledsoe or any of that, because I don't know, man, it's kind of interesting. But at the same time, when I hear people make any kind of claim or reference to healing people, I just get Peter Popoff vibes, man. And I'm just like, oh, dude, you can't claim the healing and not give proof on the healing. So that's just I guess it's kind of my shutdown moment, if you want to make claims, you're drawing in UFOs and all this stuff like that. I mean, that's one thing, but claiming you're healing people, buddy, man, that's rough. People go through a lot of ailments that are bad, cancers and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't go for that. You gotta show me if you want to claim to be Jesus, man, in that sense, not that he's claiming to be Jesus, but Jesus powers, you better pony up the evidence when it comes to that. You better drop that Brandon Fugel photo and video. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. Funny photo. Might as well throw it up there for you guys to see. So let's go ahead and get to the AI videos of the week, and we'll wrap this bitch up, huh? Let me kill the music on this. So these are these AI videos that are pretty cool. Min Choi, my boy, dude. I wish not really my boy, but he's got some great content for bringing these AI videos in there. It says, incredible. AI brings celebrity then and now photos to life. Very cool. Huh? Let's take a look at these. Eddie Murphy right on the front end, which is probably topical because Beverly Hills Cop 4, I think, is out on Netflix now. I haven't seen it yet, which I got to make time to see it. I love Beverly Hills Cop, man. Oh my God, those movies are so good. I loved all three of them. I even liked number 3. And a lot of people think 3 is the weakest, and it probably is, but I don't know. I love it. So let's take a look at this. I'll shut up. Jeez Louise. Very cool. We got a little Taylor Swift here. Bend it like Beckham. Britney Spears. You see, some of the faces aren't great. Some of them are good. Like the Pacino one here is actually really good. This one's really good. Let me scroll back just a little bit here. That Britney Spears one on the left, that don't really look like her. I feel like nowadays, her face is a bit more rounded, She's a little bit more swollen in that area. Is that the way you say it? Maybe that's mean. That looks like her when she was younger, but I don't know if that really goes along with that. I'm going to have to pause a little bit too, because these videos, just the video will get you killed over it. Drew Barrymore, the kid version of Drew Barrymore looks a lot like her when she was a kid. Once again, this one, not so much. That's pretty good. The Cruise. Help me, Tom Cruise. What's her name? She was in, this is Margot Robbie. Yeah, she was in the Barbie movie. And then, what's the other one? Wolf of Wall Street. I'm blanking on his name right now. I don't know who she is at all. What's that? Jason Momoa or Mimosa? I don't know his name. Harrison Ford. This one's bad. This one's real bad. Look at Harrison Ford. Oh my goodness. This one's real bad. Oh, the one on the left is bad. Even that one. Oh, Angelina Jolie. This one's kind of cool. Angelina, she was kind of grabbing her chest really weird right there. What is going on there? I didn't notice that. I don't know. That was kind of strange. Travolta one is horrible too. This John Travolta one's really, really bad. Look at this. Look at those faces. What is this face, bro? I guess he is bald now, but I think that one looks really, really bad. A little Clooney. Oh, halfway there. Oh, we got Goldeneye here. That one's not bad. You got a little Mark Hamill here, a little Luke. I don't know her. I mean, I've seen her, but I don't know her. Jackie Chan. I watched a lot of Jackie Chan when I was a kid. A little Rob Lowe. That one on the left doesn't look very great for him. I don't know who that guy is. And for whatever reason, I can't remember his name. But it's kind of cool, huh? I mean, they're not perfect. But, you know, when you just, it was a cool idea for an AI video that's there. These ones were really cool. When I originally pulled these up and I seen them, it looked like another video that was kind of similar. So we'll take a look at that one next. But these AI ones are getting really, really cool. Oh my God. Sorry, headphone users. Okay. Sorry about that. These giant creatures, man, the background. Looks like Elden Ring bosses a little bit. I've been playing a bunch of Elden Ring. Hugh Grant, Gabs, you got it. Hugh Grant. There it is. You always say Jason Mimosa? Yeah. Jesus AI would be interesting. You believe that Chester Bennington from Linkin Park was silenced? I don't know, dude. To be honest, man, I haven't looked into a lot of that stuff, like the Chester Bennington stuff. I love their music. Linkin Park was great. But no, I haven't looked into a lot of that stuff. To be honest with you, even if I had looked into it, we couldn't talk about that stuff on YouTube. I don't think we can. Kate Winslet, you're saying, was the other one? Okay. All right. But no, these videos are kind of cool, man. Just the depth of field is awesome. The range that they're getting in these, it's very, very, very cool. And then this one was a pretty popular one too. I loved this one. When I seen this one a few days ago, it just stood out to me, man. Make sure I mute this one this time. It just looks really cool. It's fake, but it's a good fake, man. You got the ship hanging out here in the background. Obviously, the movement isn't great, but the suits look good. The heads look good, right? I love that with the ship hanging out in the background. Like the ship just dropped them off and they're just full recon. You got what do you got? Like a staff bearer here? You got a wizard? A wizard alien. You're a wizard, Harry. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. They're at Stonehenge or whatever. I've been to Stonehenge. Stonehenge seems to be much taller than this, though, unless you want to say that they're that tall. But I don't know, man. The heights don't match very well. That's another kind of dead giveaway that it's fake. But it's cool. It's really cool, man. I even said that. Fake, but looks awesome. You know? It really, really does. Let me go through my notes, guys. I don't think there's really anything else. We're at 1:20 here. Let me see. Let me read chat here. Let me see if you guys popped anything up very interesting. Usually you guys do. Tom DeShlong is back in town. Yeah, Tom's back, man. I mean, he said that he was working on a couple new films. Let me move this off the screen because the longer that stuff sits there, they might kind of get angry about it. Yeah, Tom said he's got a couple more films. Obviously, the book. We went over this, I don't know, a couple months ago, where we had a clip where he was talking with Semivan on the TTSA podcast. The TTSA has their own podcast. They do it from, time to time. They'll release something and they're always still good to listen to out there. But yeah, he's been gone for a little bit. TTSA now is a UAP disclosure fund. Yeah, kinda. I'm still interested to see if Grush pops up again. I guess I'll leave you with this, man. This is a take that I've been having is I kind of don't think we're going to see. I have a feeling that there's a very high probability. This is the way I want to say this because I could always be wrong, but a very high probability that we don't hear from Grush again. I think it's a better chance than most people think. The rest of the year, I'm not really seeing a great time for him to step out. I mean, he can step out whenever he wants to, but I just don't see a moment where he's going to do that. And And I think that, you know, he took a lot of heat since he's been out talking, but I think that Rogan interview might have hurt his feelings. Where Rogan, and not hurt feelings like he's a crybaby, but I think in the sense of like, it's not really worth it to him, you know, to continue to talk, to continue to go on and on and on. He's taking a lot of heat, you know, he might just dip out. I know he said he has firsthand knowledge or firsthand accounts. He's hinted at that on that Rogan episode, but you know, I'm just saying, guys, don't be surprised, man. I've been thinking about that stuff so much lately, and it makes sense. People go away. How many people have we seen come around this topic? Military background people talk, go away. It's what happens, man. You know? Or at least go away for a while. You know, Richard Doty's been back on the scene a lot more lately, but you know, that's a whole nother story, Richard Doty. Steve says, AI art starting to look amazing, but soon we'll not be able to believe anything we see. Man, I don't know if we can believe everything we see now, Hams. I don't know. It's getting bad. When we expect the 40, I'll look at it from this chat window. When we expect the 40 strong team of whistleblowers, dude, no idea. No idea. I don't know what they're waiting for besides the election and, of course, you know, to see where, I guess the election really is going to run everything at this point. I kind of thought we had a bigger chance for World War III to break out even before the election, but it seems like things are kind of stationary for is what I've been able to see. It just seems like everybody's waiting. Good to see you, Tony. Yeah, I see you, buddy. It seems like everybody's waiting. Music, movies, you know, ufology, everything's just on hold. We're just waiting. The economy's on hold. Yeah. Look at the rest of the year. We got the book, documentary, a couple books, documentary, but it's going to be rough, man. I don't know. It's going to be, I'll be honest with you guys, man. It's going to be tough to do like episodes that I feel are like really fire, man. Unless something comes out, you know, it's going to be tough to bring the heat that I want to bring, man. Cause like I said, I'm just a bystander, man. I'm just out here looking and trying to pull together some information and get some understanding to bring something new. Let me see. Let me read chat here for just another second and we'll close this thing out here. Jolie, shocking. She was pretty normal. I had a conversation with her about Morgan Freeman. She didn't like him. Oh, you've met her? Moody? You met Angelina Jolie? Moody, what haven't you done? Moody's done a lot, huh? 3 military helicopters flying. Military helicopters fly over. It's all Ireland early day. You know, has already started. People just... Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I hope things pick up, guys. I really do. You know, I don't want to bore you guys. I never want to bore you guys. I'll be honest. If I feel like there's a week that goes by that there's not really something that I think is worth your time, I'll probably just skip an episode, man. I don't ever want to feel like I'm wasting your guys' time with content, dude. I want to bring only cool shit. So that's going to do it for me. And for the rest of the world here. And let's pop a little bit of this music up, huh? Okay. Yeah. I need an audio guy sitting on the side. You can just run this stuff for me. Yeah, so guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the show for sure, man. I tried to pull the cool stuff. Did the best I can when it comes to that. Should be here next Sunday. If not, I'll let you guys know. If nothing really comes up, we'll see. We'll float it. You know, if you guys haven't had a chance to watch the Alien Addict episode from last night that me and Nick were on there, go check it out. It was really cool. We talked about a little bit of the metamaterial, but then we went over like the Turkish UFO and that sighting from 2007, 2009, the wave of sightings in Turkey. It's really cool, guys. Go check that out. Thank you, Nick, for coming, dude, and being a part. Rotary, Gebs, Tony, Moody, Steve, obviously. Steve wants to be in the song. I know you do. I'm kidding back. DB Property Maintenance, man, thanks for coming, dude. I'm gonna go through you guys the names here before we go. John, obviously, John's the OG of the OGs, huh? Obviously, Sapphire Elf, good to see you, dude, even though you're on your other account. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the show. You know, you guys have been cool, man. I really appreciate the time. All right, I'm terrible at ending these, so I'm just gonna end it. We'll see you next time at Terrestrial Material. Like, share, subscribe. Follow Twitter. We'll see you next time.
On the afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Gibbs, and rotary motion. Cosmic Twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Gibbs, and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.